Hello, hello. Raj says, hi Don from India. Hi to India. Nice to have you, mate. Vasilis front ran me with the hello, hello. Yeah, too predictable, as usual. How are you guys doing? How has everyone been? It's been a while. It's not my fault. I scheduled something with Cred on Friday and he rugged me. He had a good reason. He also rugged me on Sunday, but he had an even better reason. So don't be too angry at him. He has been reasonable this once. Usually he's not, but this time he has been reasonable. So if you're wondering why there was no Friday show, it was out of my hands, but also can't blame Cred for it. Entry TP stop loss, thank you, sir. I mean, we talked about that last time. I was like, I'm not gonna take it. Fuck the bears, and that actually was the Pico top. Beautiful setup. Like into resistance here, and then into monthly resistance here. Yeah, that played out quite nicely. I didn't take any of it. I'm been quite busy, so it's actually the first time I'm properly looking at the market in days. But I will just do it together. Life's been busy. Time to increase size in Bitcoin. Looks good, no? I mean, for me, I will only use leverage if it dumps into like 60K. I think that's unreasonably low. I think that at that point, people are just being really stupid. We should never get there. But if we do, I think that's like just a brain dead long or above 90 now. Anywhere in between, I'm too lazy. But yeah, we'll see how it looks. Like I said, I haven't really looked at it. But for me, it's the same as it has been, basically. Like down here, everyone's really stupid. I mean, something catastrophically has to happen to kind of make these kind of prices reasonable in the short term. And above 90K, I think we're going to accelerate to the upside. So those are the two brain dead plays for me to actually add leverage. Is it over? We'll see. But yeah, before we start the show, big shout out to Wu, the sponsor. Really appreciate their support. Go check them out. Links are in the description below. I come here for the ETH hopium. I stay for the lols. I don't know if you're gonna get any ETH hopium besides just like that we're all just holding hands together, hoping that it goes up. Mostly looks good to me because TradFi looks good for a bounce. Yeah, I generally think. I mean, we can start with TradFi, right? And I'm not an expert. I don't really like. This is not really my area of expertise, right? But just look at this, okay? So we'll do a comparison, right? So this is the S&P. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I will be quite obvious in a sec. So comparing the S&P with the German, doesn't really matter. You can pick any European one, right? Is pretty, like there's pretty obvious weakness there on the American side of things. And we are correlated crypto-wise to the S&P, not to European stocks. The reason why is basically because this entire dump, and it's been quite an aggressive dump, is entirely, and I mean like literally entirely the fault of Trump. Now, whether you agree with him or not, that America should nuke its own stock market or not, different kind of story. But this is not like a situation like we had with COVID, where it was really like out of anyone's hand. Like this is just like, it's not like anyone could really do anything. Like the stock market was gonna die. In this case, like this is literally just the Trump dump, right? Like Trump is forcing the market lower. And I think there's only so much pain he can take. He's very, I mean, if we know one thing about Trump, he's very, like, he has a lot of pride, and he's not gonna want to be the president that just nuked the entire market. I would be very surprised. So I think at some point when the pain gets too high, he's gonna reverse course. I'm not entirely sure if we're entirely there yet, but I think we're getting close. I think people, like the louder people are calling him an idiot for what he's doing, the more likely he is to reverse course. And the streams have been getting louder and louder. And the reason why people are so upset is because, like I said, it's a Trump dump. Like, there's no other reason why the market's going down necessarily, besides him just putting in a lot of uncertainty into all markets. Germany must be doing really well, judging by the DAX. Yeah, I mean, better than America, apparently, yeah. Excuse me. So that's kind of like what we're battling with. This is why crypto has been so shit, because we have correlated. And also, crypto has kind of like put all its weight behind Trump. And the more stupid Trump looks on the world stage, the worse it is for crypto credibility, right? Like, if you back someone with full force and he looks like an idiot, it's obviously not the best look for you. It's the same as when brands sponsor like celebrities and they do some dumb shit, and then the brand has to kind of back off and it's like, oh shit. It's the same with Trump, just crypto cannot really back out. So we're in this together with him. The more stupid shit he does, the worse it is for us. The better he does, the better for us. Just kind of how it goes. Seriously considering turning all my ETH to XRP and becoming an Uber driver. I mean, I'm a big XRP believer, in the sense that I think the XRP price is gonna go up. Just generally, like, I think it's the best. And I've been saying this since 0.6. I think it's the best coin to capture altcoin strength this entire market cycle. If the market cycle is over, you're going to lose all your money regardless. If the market cycle is not over, I think it's one of, if not the best coin to capture kind of like the current zeitgeist. In my opinion, XRP is going to outperform ETH. I mean, I think so too. It's just, if the market goes down, you're going to be more happy having ETH than XRP. But if the market goes up, you're going to massively outperform with XRP, I think. But we'll see. I have both, so don't really care. But yeah, that's kind of the story with the S&P. Trump pushed it lower. Now voices are getting loud, even on the Republican side of things, that don't agree with what he's doing. I've seen a lot of people kind of be like, I love Trump, but, which is something that I haven't seen in a long time. And I think, like I said, if those cries get louder and louder and he starts hearing them from like people closer to him, I think he's gonna lighten up and basically let the whole tariff thing go. Because I'm trying to understand how the tariffs would be in any way good. I cannot find a good reason. So to me, it's just stupidity. Like, it just makes no sense. But maybe he's like 4D chessing and it's actually much smarter than I think. And maybe that's the case. It doesn't really matter. It's pushing prices lower. And the more this intensifies, right, and you get a trade war with Canada, Australia was mentioned yesterday. Like, every other day, a new friend gets added to the list of getting nuked, which I found a little bit ridiculous. I mean, start with your enemies, not with your friends, I think, but this is what it is. So yeah, once pain is big enough, he's gonna reverse course, I'm pretty sure. Don't really think he can take the reputational hit. So, is it fair for countries to tariff the US, in your opinion, or should they all just be removed by everyone? So tariffs, I mean, and this is my like noob kind of view on it, right? So tariffs on a few things are actually quite nice to have, as like just generally as a country, right? So for example, if you are the US, right, and Canada, or like, let's say from Canada's perspective, because it's easier because it's a smaller country, right? you're Canada, and you're a small country, and you have like a big country next to you, and you want to make sure that you can feed your population, for example, right? So you want to kind of like make sure that the farmers in your country are protected, just to make sure that they just don't all leave. And then if something goes wrong, you're kind of fucked, right? Because no one's producing any food in your country. And then it makes sense to start like doing like subsidies on your farmers, or start using tariffs against food from outside. The same is true for like a lot of other things, right? Like strategically important things. I think in those instances, it just kind of makes sense to promote. And I fucking hate, like, tariffs are really like just bad generally, but in some instances like that, it just makes sense, right? Like as a country, you don't want to be entirely reliant on everyone around you to feed you, for example. You don't want to be entirely reliant on everyone else to get you the energy that you need, right? Like all of that shit is important, and this is something where you can use tariffs to kind of protect yourself. But just generally, you want to have as little as possible for just the benefit of everyone. So tariffs on like strategic things make sense. Tariffs on everything completely retarded makes absolutely no sense. That's kind of how I look at it. And yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. And you see how easy this goes, right? Like you start a tariff, the opponent makes one up themselves, and then it just keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then you have a trade war going, and it helps no one. This is not, as you can see from the S&P, this is not good for anyone. And it's just basically like, it's just a bunch of like it's just a bunch of bureaucracy. Everyone fucking hates this, right? Like everyone wants to just do their thing and not have to jump through like a million hoops. But that's kind of like, we're going more and more protected in the world. But I think this is a little bit overblown. I don't think it makes much sense to go this hard. The tariffs are good because it's going to force the fan to cut. He's breaking the system. I mean, you're saying like it's gonna, like he's doing it to get rate cuts. I think that's a really stupid argument. Like it's basically like burning your house down just so you can get the insurance money on your couch. Like that's fucking retarded. Like that makes no sense. Like if you actually think about it, right? Like that's legit, like burning your entire house down because you wanted to insurance money on your couch. Like what the fuck are you doing? This is not how it works. But yeah, Trump's hell bent on it. But I think at some point people are gonna tell him to stop it. Like at some point people are gonna get brave enough to actually be like, hey, this might actually not be the best idea. And then I hope he has enough reason in him to stop it. That'd be good for all markets anyway. Don, that's actually the way Trump is doing business. Yeah, but it's retarded. It just makes no sense. But yeah, that's the whole macro situation. Like I said, don't listen to me on this. It's just my amateur opinion. Doesn't really matter. It's just because people asked for it. Back to crypto, something that I have a little bit more expertise in. A little bit, not too much, but a little bit. We talked about this. I'm pretty sure how we retested monthly resistance, and we also had the daily resistance retest, right? And that was the short setup. I think I posted this on Twitter, pretty sure. Basically do this, or we talked about it on stream. Anyone that was here can confirm or deny. I don't remember, but that was basically the short setup, right? You have like the whole double resistance, monthly, daily, and then basically we talked about that when you get these wicks down, if they get kind of confirmed by a candle afterwards, it's bad news, right? So that's kind of the situation we're in right now. That played out quite nicely. We bounced quite a bit before support, which I find good. I really don't want to see us trade below 80k for too long. I generally think and we retest 70K, that's a massive sign of weakness. And it's gonna be much harder to come back from that than if we just hold the 80K region, trade like briefly below it. That's totally fine, but you don't want to start seeing like price action too much below it, right? But yeah, that trade setup played out quite nicely. I didn't have much faith in it. Even if you like took the trade to here or whatever, even if you took it to here, that would have been a decent trade. I didn't have faith, so I'm not going to take any credit for it. It's just the setup that we talked about, because it was so good. If it ends, we could get a good summer, right? I mean, yeah, depending on, I mean, with Trump, you never know what you're going to get, you know? Like, if he stops with the tariffs, you don't know what's his next line of whatever the fuck he's going to come up with, right? So, but generally, yes. The markets are not, they don't need to go down. They're just being forced to go down. And the longer this goes on, the more damage is going to be done. And the less likely it's going to be to just turn around. So hope that Trump kind of reverses course soon. Otherwise, we're going to be like in a recession for quite a bit. And I mean, if he doesn't stop at all, markets are kind of fucked. So we kind of and this is what I said when Trump became president, right? I don't know if you guys remember, but I was like, now in like the Trump show, like what, like your TA matters much less. It's just all news trading now, and you can see it in the charts, right? Like the big candles are all Trump stuff, and we're just sitting here. And we're basically everyone that's trading is getting farmed by insiders, right? We've seen a lot of insider trading happening. People are taking advantage of the fact that the market is really skittish. Trump is making the market really skittish. And then some people that have knowledge on what's going to happen are insider trading based on it. So everyone's getting farmed. Are we ever getting the Technical Ramble newsletter back? We wanted to, but I mean, it's really hard to get cred to have at least 5 minutes, even on a Friday. So we've been pausing it, and I hope he's gonna be less busy. Problem is, I'm gonna be really busy soon because my second child's gonna be born soon. So, and with one child, you're kind of like, okay, it's napping, I can just fuck off and do whatever. But with two, I'm gonna have to take care of the first one, while my wife is taking care of the second one. So I'm gonna be more busy. So it's basically, he's very busy right now, and then maybe once he starts being less busy, I'm gonna be really busy. Hey Don, do you follow routines and rules in life a lot? And I want to know what makes you a good trader. Is it understanding your edge and executing it, or has your personality played a big role? So I don't really follow rules much, if at all. Like only the ones that I find sensible. And the ones that I find sensible is basically not inconveniencing others. I also don't really have much routine. But my personality probably helped me more than my edge, just by, like, my personality is just that I don't really fall for good-looking things, you know? Like, I don't get scammed very easily, if at all. I cannot remember the last time I got scammed. And in crypto, that's kind of perfect. Like, it just doesn't really happen. So I think that's helped a lot. Just kind of looking at it like at crypto in that lens, being like, okay, the market is constantly trying to scam me, and I need to avoid all of the scams while actually still taking advantage of it. That's kind of, it's been helping. We are scamming you right now, Don. How so? How so? Tell me. Scamming me out of my time? It's fine. I mean, like I said, this is the first time I've probably looked at the market, so in a while. It's good concentrated 1 hour looking at the market while bouncing ideas off the chat. It's not that bad, honestly. Like, people give doing these kind of things a bad rep. Like just talking about your stuff makes it so much more obvious what you should be doing, right? Like just when you think about things in your head, you can get like lost, and then you have to explain it to someone. And you're like, oh, why have I been such an idiot, you know? And the moment you start talking about it, so it's not like you're scamming me. Don is scamming when he pretends to be correct. Fair enough. Don, can you give some hopium on hype? No, I mean, I like it. I don't use it. So like, it's a new chart. It's a new coin. I don't fucking know the technicalities of it. I've seen that someone kind of abused the system there. I have no idea. I mean, we can look at the chart. And then we go back to Bitcoin and actually talk about it. I mean, that looks quite awful, no? We talked about this before, and I was like, it's an ascending triangle. I mean, if it breaks out, good. If it breaks down, you're fucked. This broke down. There's not really anything you can say about this. Like a reclaim of 20, and then you can be giga bullish again. But then again, like that's a 2x from current prices almost. Cannot really give good hopium. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I think still at this point, where if you think it's a good bet, it's a good bet. And if you don't, you don't. So, Bitcoin monthly retested resistance kind of in the middle of nowhere. Not too bearish, not too bullish. The weekly, this is where we start running into troubles. We had a really nice recovery last week, but that got ruined. Like the week before last week, and that got ruined with this red candle. It's something that I was a little bit afraid of. If you guys think back to the last show, I was like, when you get these kind of candles with the massive wick, it's not so nice if you start trading back into the wick, because then you just disappear again, and then you can do it again and again. It's kind of where we are right now. Like you had that massive wick, we went into it again, and now this week we did it again. It is a little bit of a news trade because, like I said, this is in large part due to Trump tariffs. It's just how it is. A lot of people keep saying like, hey, you have Trump derangement syndrome or whatever, because you talk about Trump. But I mean, like when that's 90% of the price action right now, that's 90% of the price action, right? And that's, I think you can be pretty clear, even if you're a Trump supporter, that this price drop is due to Trump. And then if he does something positive, you can also say that's because of Trump. Doesn't really matter. But basically, it's a news event that we're going through. And I think if you reclaim the range now that we've closed below it, I don't think we're going to get a fake out like this again, where we close back above it and then lose it. I generally want to see last week close above the range low, and then I would have actually probably taken some leverage trades. We didn't do that. Now we have kind of like, we're in the middle of nowhere, like exactly between support and resistance. And if you reclaim, I think it starts looking really good, because I think the only real reason why we would reclaim is either by showing massive strength in crypto by ourselves, which would be good, or by the macro situation changing, right? And both of those things, I think, could lead to more upside, and this would be a good technical kind of good technicals to argue in that way. And then like for me in 90k, you have like a risk defined trade, like your invalidation would be 80, your entry would be like 90, 91, something around there, and your target would be new highs, like 120, 130, whatever. I think that would be a good trade. It's the same kind of like good trade that we had here on the downside, where I was like, this is a decent, like that's a good trade, basically shorting this, targeting down here. I think that trade has mostly played out. And I think basically the inverse would be true here, where you would have a really good bullish setup that just is quite nice. And that one I would be willing to take. I'm more willing to take bullish setups than bearish setups right now. Can you compare S&P to Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin is holding better. Yeah, Bitcoin's been holding better than the S&P. But then again, like what you have to kind of realize is that other stock markets that are not the S&P have actually been doing quite fine too. Like usually everything goes up together, It's just the S&P is getting completely pummeled now, whereas other markets are doing quite okay. So it's not like there's exceptional Bitcoin strength. It's more so there's exceptional, like, just American stock market weakness. Like the only thing that's really suffering right now is America. And Bitcoin isn't quite America, you know. That's why I would be a little bit cautious with this, but still, yes, it's holding better than the S&P. Most bearish thing about hype is flood is insufferable. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I just let him have it, you know. Like, I'm always sad for people that seem kind of lost. Like, and I mean, it happens very easily, right? Like, you achieve what you wanted to achieve, and then you look down and you're like, okay, what did I do this for? I think a lot of people in crypto, including myself, went through this, where you're fighting and fighting and fighting, and then you're like, I mean, what's the point? Have you fully exited your XRP trade? No. Every time it makes new highs, I sell a little bit. I'm willing. I have taken more profit. Like, basically, I bought this at 0.6, and I've taken more profit than I initially put in, you know? So basically, how I look at it, and to me, this is not necessarily the best way to look at the market, but I don't care. I'm at the point where I just don't care. But basically, I took more profit than I put in, and look at it from a zero cost basis. I have a decent portfolio still, like a decent position in XRP, and even if it goes to, like, from here to zero, I would have still made money on that trade. And I'm willing to hold it, basically. I'm willing to hold it, and I'm only willing to sell it if it goes up. And that might sound like a weird thing to say for someone that's been kind of trading this market so long and has never really kind of talked about, like, just not giving a fucking holding, because it's not really my vibe usually. But like I said, I'm more busy nowadays than I used to be, and I also kind of feel like if I want to have crypto exposure, XRP is one of the best ones to have it. And I do want to have a little bit of crypto exposure now that basically countries are starting to embrace it. Even if it goes to zero, I'm gonna be like, oh, shit happens. Could have made more money. Didn't lose any. It's fine. So that's how I look at it. It goes to $3, $4, $5. I'm gonna start, like, selling again. Basically every time this start, like, I started selling somewhere in the 2s and sold a little bit more in the 3s. I'm gonna sell more in the 4s, and then I'm gonna sell everything if I get to at 10. Like 10, I think I will not take it further than 10 if it ever gets there. And anything left over, I will just basically just see it retrace. I'm fine with it. So, where do you think the low for XRP will be? So we talked of Bitcoin, we can talk about XRP. Right now, it's holding support, right? It is struggling a little bit, and it looked really nice last week. This was really, really nice, actually. But then basically Trump said, like, ADA, XRP, and Solana are great. And and then the people in his team were like, dude, shut the fuck up. And got really upset with him and basically said, no, it's just Bitcoin. And that's where, like, you had a really nice candle on XRP. And then his team kind of, like, was like, no, shut that down. And that's where the red candle comes from, in combination with Bitcoin having dumped, obviously. It's still holding support. I think, like, that'd be a nice kind of area to range and then bottom out eventually. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is how I look at the monthly. Even if this retraces a little bit further, I still like it. And I'm just chilling. Same with XRP BTC. That monthly resistance struggling makes sense, right? Like, that's where you would want to, see the market to pause a little bit, but also not looking too bad. I think as long as crypto doesn't go down entirely, XRP is going to be good. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin goes down towards like 60, you're going to see a massive dump on XRP. That's just how it is. It's never getting to 10. I don't know. We will see. I wouldn't want to bet my life on it, but I'm willing to bet some money on it. Not necessarily on 10. Like, I'm not going to hold everything that I have now to 10, but I think there's a chance that I'm going to get to sell 10 or around about. Like, I'll obviously also be happy with selling 9. I am known to sell a little bit before my targets are hit. So that's kind of, I mean, people are not happy with it because people fucking hate XRP. And I mean, I get it. I'm not the biggest fan either, but it's been a good trade, right? And I think generally I don't like Solana, and I have to admit that it's been a good trade just generally. I like other coins much better. There's a lot of coins that I didn't like that went up. Anyway, so yeah. That's what we are, basically all reliant on, like everything is reliant on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is reliant on Trump, and it's a little bit frustrating, I think. If XRP is at $5, where's Bitcoin? If XRP is at 10, where's Bitcoin? No, I mean, higher, obviously. Oh, Josh is in the chat. Nice to see you, man. It's been a while. The Monday show was great. Loved that. It was a lot of fun. That we used to do. Where could I macro buy Sui? You guys are asking me shit. Like I looked at Sui chart like 5 times in my entire life, and then you're asking me for financial advice on it. Oh shit! Look at that. I drew a resistance and it worked. I'm a genius. It's good that you asked for it. Now I look really smart in front of everyone. Can we do the same with support? Maybe we can. That's a really choppy area. I mean, we can do this. No, we can be kind to the Suis of the world. It's a really shitty support though. I'll do it like that. Can be even kinder, but that's big box. No, fuck that. We'll do it like that. This is support, and then if that fails, we have support like in the $1 range. I think $1 would be nice, but it's at support right now. Rip Monday show, yeah. Rip. That was good. Can you talk Litecoin charts for ETF trade, please? Yeah. You guys want me to look at all the nuked money that. Like, I look at the ETH and I know that I have a bunch, and I'm like, oh shit. That is sad, but we need to talk about it. So, monthly closed at support. That's close enough for me to close at support, but still, like, really shouldn't have gone back there. The weekly is also at support right now. I generally still think with ETH, that you want to start reclaiming something before you get bullish. Like if I want to take ETH leverage, you're gonna have to push this up basically. Like I'm gonna be fine buying ETH above like 2.6, 2.8 on leverage. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be happy with what I have and just chill. Don, are you going to stop trading for a bit when your second child arrives? I mean, I'm already not really trading. I'm just holding. I haven't, like the last trade that I've took has been quite a while ago. It's been basically like a couple, like when Trump came out with this, so that's like a week ago or something. Like that was my last major trade. Like this up, like I bought ADA, I bought a little bit of XRP, I bought a few things before this. Like I saw it quite early when Trump posted ADA, sold XRP, and then I was just like, okay, took that trade, dumped my ADA way too early, but still made good like a good profit with it. Traded the other ones even worse, still made a little bit of money on that, and that's kind of been it. I'm too busy right now to properly trade. This is why I'm saying like I'm just holding these. Like I'm holding XRP because I think it's probably gonna go higher. I'm holding ETH because I think it's probably gonna go higher, and I'm too busy to like actively manage stuff. Why does ETH do so bad? You think there's a chance it's actually done for and it might be retarded? So with ETH, I think there's gonna be a time where ETH is done for. I don't think it's necessarily this cycle, but I've always maintained the fact that the only thing that I think has staying power is Bitcoin. Like everything else is gonna, like you're gonna have, ETH is gonna be upset by Sol, and then Sol is gonna be upset by something else, and then that is gonna be upset by something else, and it's just gonna, like that's just how it is. Bitcoin's the only one that is not, in my opinion, gonna go down that route. Don, will you miss us when you stop doing live videos on crypto charts? Sad you won't share ideas with us anymore. I mean, still a little bit to go. I think. I don't know. I mean, I'd miss you guys. Yeah, of course, of course. I'd think about you all the time. Every half an hour or something, I'd be like, oh no. YouTube chat, Twitch chat. It's so sad that I don't get to see you anymore. But I had to do it. That's how it's probably gonna go. Don't leave us, Don. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any plans to do it anytime soon, but yeah. I mean, Wu has locked us into a contract for a little bit still. It's not that long anymore, but for a little bit. And I mean, I do honor contracts that I've signed. And then after that contract is over, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like the video, so Don will miss us even more. Yeah, yeah. You guys, you know how to manipulate me. Huh? Litecoin had a really Litecoin generally looks quite good to me. I would like this monthly to full reverse and close green. I know that's a tall order, but that's kind of what I would love to see. At that point, it would just be the best looking chart in crypto. Like then I would be like, okay, because I've been saying XRP is the best chart in crypto since like 0.6. If Litecoin closes this month above green, I'm gonna say like now it's Litecoin, and that's the ETF trade basically. Still like it, still a good chart, but I would like it much more if it closed above like 120. It's quite choppy right now. The market is quite choppy. Draw another contract up. I mean, you guys have to convince them to give us a good contract by supporting us, I guess. I don't know. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens after, because like I said, I'm going to be quite busy in the near future. There's also a lot of personal life stuff coming for me this year. This life-wise, this is the biggest year for me, for sure. So we'll see how much time I have. Aren't the tariffs an idea to try to gain some international producers to actually produce in the US? Let's say we put tariffs on cars in the company we target outside US, but they have big market in the US. They will try to open new factories inside US and sell their product, but also create new jobs. I mean, this is like this how you think, right? But it's very, very. I mean, this is just basically like you're thinking one step, but like a lot of the jobs that you want to have back, that you want to get back with like tariffs and shit, is just jobs that Americans don't want to do, right? Like people like, oh, we want to produce in America again, we want to do this and that, but people don't really want to work in like the factory, standing there doing like those kind of tasks, right? You don't really have the workforce to do a lot of the shit that you've outsourced to China anymore. Like the world is just very different. Americans are very different. It's the same with Europe, right? If Europe started being like, hey, we need to get people back to make t-shirts, like that shit's like no one wants to those jobs. You can get them back to Europe, but then there's not gonna be anyone standing there being like, okay, I'm making t-shirts. Like no one gives a fuck. Like people are like way too too highly educated to like they have like way overqualified, and then also just way too lazy. Like try to put someone that isn't fearful that they're gonna starve on these kind of jobs, and I mean, good luck with that. They're not gonna do it. So like people are like, oh, we want these jobs back, all of these jobs that we outsourced. Like, do you really? Like, would you want to work that job? Like, that's bullshit. You don't. Like, and obviously, like, I mean, the world's just different now. And people always love to think like, hey, in the past everything was better. Like in my youth was so much better. I want to go back there, but there's no way to go back. Like you cannot go back. The world has changed now, and people just need to move on. But it's just very inherently human. And it's the same with crypto, right? Like the market has changed a lot. People, I see a lot of people that just kind of want to have the market back to how it used to be, but it's never going to go back to how it used to be, just because we have like new players in the game now. We have ETFs, we have nations talking about it, like with the US talking about stockpiles, about reserves, strategic reserves, all that shit. Like humans really fucking hate change, and they hate to just sit there being like everything's so different now and it used to be so much better. And we always have these like rose colored tinted glasses, whatever, that make everything like in the past look so much better, and makes us long for it again. But like if you're not starting like a time machine, you're not going to be able to go back. And then forcefully trying to make it how it used to be is just going to fuck you over. I want to have 2017 again with Don streaming on Twitch. Yeah, that was good times. Second kid easier, relaxed. Yeah. I mean, I'm not too worried about the second child, but I'm also going to move. I'm getting another citizenship. There's a lot of things in the works right now, so that's why I'm busy. Do you think that you still have an edge in the future with your trading approach? I mean, the more time passes, the less you becoming a croissant. No, never. Dude, you couldn't pay me to. I love my Frenchies, but I'm never gonna live in France. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you're going to France. Fuck no, you cannot convince me to go to France. I mean, France is great, to be fair. Like, it's a good country. A lot of problems, but a good country. Like, beautiful nature, delicious food. I mean, but there's the French, you know. I can only say this because my wife's French. But yeah. Anyway. That's that. That's how we are. Solana at weekly support, struggling a lot. Everything's kind of chilling at the last support possible. Bitcoin is not quite there yet. But we'll see how it goes. It's more news watching now. So I can try to give good advice, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, if you're really good at kind of like judging what Trump is going to do next, I think you have more edge than you used to be. Like, news traders and like kind of people that have a good read on how stuff works in real life, their edge has exponentially increased, and TA traders, the edge has decreased. I think everything is just waiting for Trump. It's not funny anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's stupid. I hate it. But I knew this was going to happen. That's why, I mean, we talked about it when he got elected. I was like, this, you might be, like, you can be as happy as you want to be, but it's a Trump market now, and this is not necessarily, like, Trump markets are always kind of like, if you're an insider, you make a shitload of money. If you're not, there's a good chance you get chopped. I think Friday is going to fuck us again. Yeah, possible. But yeah, that's that. Any other questions? Because otherwise I'll call it a night. Still have a few things to do today, and I need some sleep as well. Don, I stood 8 hours days for 20 years. Don't tell me what I want to do. Fair enough. I mean, you can do it. I'm not saying no one would, but a very, very few would. Can a peace deal with Russia be a good catalyst for a small run? Doubt it. I think that might, like a small run maybe, but a big run, nah. I don't really think. Like, Europe is not gonna reverse course. No one trusts Russia anymore. And least of all the Germans, right? Like the Germans were, I mean, the whole policy of Germany, like it's kind of funny because the Germans basically did what Trump tries to do now. Like the Germans were basically for years, and this was basically all the Russia policy that we had was basically like, hey, we're gonna make Russia so reliant on us by being reliant on Russia. That them starting a war would not make sense for them, right? Like that was the whole German idea of kind of making Europe safe. That's why like all of these pipelines were built. Angela Merkel was kind of like way excited in that, and kind of like thought like, hey, this is how we prevent war. And that all went up in shits, right? And it's kind of funny because Trump is doing the exact same thing. Like he's like, we need to kind of like integrate Russia again, and then there's no reason for them to have a war. It's the exact same mistake, in my opinion, that the Germans did, which is really funny because everyone's kind of like shit talking German policy, and Trump is doing the exact same thing. That's kind of how we got in this mess in the first place. So basically, if there's like a peace deal with Russia, Germany and Europe is not gonna like trust it at all. It's not really gonna change anything. And I think for good reason. Like I think if there's a peace deal, it's gonna be broken. Sadly, I wish we wouldn't have to have war. Like wars just generally, it's so fucking stupid. In 2020, 2025, I almost said 2021 because I'm such a fucking boomer. And that's kind of the year that I thought we were in. But yeah, in 2025, having war, like sending people to die is just fucking insane. Like just imagining having to go, being on the front line and being like cannon fodder basically, is fucking awful. Like you would think that we're above that now as a species, but apparently we're not. That's what drones are for now? Yeah, but you still, like, you know what you're bombing with. The drones are bombing people still. So it's sad. And I mean, I get, like, a lot of the American, and I mean, if I even have any Americans left that watch me, like a lot of the Americans are like, yeah, we need to end the war. And I mean, everyone wants the war to end. Like the Russians want to win and then the war to end so people don't die. They just want to win, obviously. The Ukrainians want to win and the world to end. They want their land back, which completely makes sense as well, right? And then like the Europeans obviously don't want war because it's not fun when your economy gets fucked and you have to put a lot of money into defense contracts of all things, right? Like it's a ginormous waste of money at the end of the day that you could better spend on other things. Like it's not like anyone wants war. It's just like sometimes shit happens basically. But yeah, is how it is. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, right now, short time frame, there's really not that much to say. Bitcoin's kind of trading in the middle of nowhere. You'd like to see 80K hold. I think Bitcoin's going to be a really good trade above 90K. It's going to be a really good dip to buy below 70. I think at that point, like I don't think it's gonna get below 70, but if it does, like that's where I would just buy the dip and think like people are expecting it to go to 0, and it's gonna. I think if it went to 60, it like 3 days or 4 days after it'd be trading back at 80, and that's even just that would be a good trade, right? Like from 60 to 80, I'd be happy to capture that. If it did this, I would probably sell it here, and then if it goes higher. start trading again, basically. If it goes lower, I mean, then it's shit out of luck, right? So like to the downside, I would buy basically when everyone dies. To the upside, I would buy a confirmation of sorts. I would like a weekly close above 90, a daily close minimum above 90. Until then, I'm too washed up to trade this. Too little time, too little interest. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at the market. Hope that helped. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate their support. Appreciate your guys' support. It's always nice to chat with you. Like chat's been really reasonable, really good questions, really good conversations. It's really nice to see. Like the quality has gone up year after year, which is really nice. Like back in the day, people were asking how to draw straight lines on TradingView. Now people are talking geopolitics and the impact on the markets. Love to see it. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Much love, and we'll see each other soon. Bye bye.